Support WrestleTalk!
Be friendly in the comments.
How SmackDown won the Superstar Shake-Up. I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble, where it's all wrapped up now. The Superstars are shaken, and we can see where they fell. And the spread of the land of the main roster, I think we can quite comfortably agree SmackDown kicked Raw's ass. What was Kurt Angle thinking?
Kurt Angle made some terrible choices, really. It's like, I mean, yeah, I know you want Samoa Joe, but I want Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. That's the only way this seems fair.
Yeah, there was, there's just, I mean, Bobby Roode, okay. Who else went to Raw?
Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, The Ascension.
You're doing the lower ones, the worst decent ones. There was Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal.
Yep.
Should have written these down, really. This is not very professional.
Are you trying to say that we should have been prepared?
We did write the SmackDown ones down, though. So, okay, this is a lot better. The first one was Jeff Hardy.
With his United States Championship.
Yes.
You, lucky their page.
Yeah, so he came along, and he's immediately... The mid-card scene is quite well developed. It's like, I've written in my notes, it's 2008. Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, and Shelton Benjamin.
I know, right?
That's a bit of a flashback. Then The Miz had his promo. We already knew he was moving over, but Miz is a credible screen presence. Like, he doesn't really move the needle in terms of ratings or make anyone want to buy a match that he's in, or like a pay-per-view. But, like, he's definitely a star.
Yep.
In an A-list
And again,
sense.
and you talk about bolstering up that mid-card.
Yeah.
With The Miz in there, Jeff and Randy, and you know, even some of the other people that haven't had a chance to be on TV. Ty Dillinger, you know, maybe you slot him into that role.
It's not happening. Yeah, The Miz just got a promo, though. That's what I liked about this SmackDown. Compared to Raw, and I guess it's because Raw did have SmackDown in mind, like, oh, we can't do too much because it might reveal who's not moving where. But SmackDown didn't have that problem. They could just press ahead with storyline stuff like they did the previous week after WrestleMania, which Raw didn't. So SmackDown managed to incorporate the Superstar Shake-Up into storylines, whereas Raw just felt like it was thrown together with new people and didn't really further anything.
Yeah, they were just, it was 2 weeks of house shows, basically. And like what I really liked about SmackDown, particularly this week and last week, as you said there, they have, like, SmackDown opened this week with stories. Like, it wasn't, the opening video package wasn't like, whoa, Superstar Shakeup, who's coming to SmackDown? It was like, the important thing here is that AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura are feuding over the WWE Championship. That's your main thing.
You said it's Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles' testicles.
Yeah.
They are that's the money feud.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah. So, like, and that was the video package. And then AJ came out and he didn't cut a promo about the Superstar Shakeup. He cut a promo on Shinsuke Nakamura, and he was interrupted by Rusev. And then Daniel Bryan came out. It was all focused on SmackDown and building storylines and kind of creating these divisions, creating these little feuds and this, that, and the other. And I was like, wow. At one point, I actually forgot there was a Superstar Shakeup. It wasn't until Jeff came out and I was like, oh yeah, we've got a Superstar Shakeup on our hands.
3 segments in, we got our first reveal.
Yeah.
But so most of the stuff, and I understand this might be because after Raw, whereas all the SmackDown roster were backstage at Raw because, you know, they do the WWE tend to do these things as a shoot or possibly last minute, whereas I want you on Raw. So it's good that you're there. Whereas the Raw stars, after that, the Raw roster had to leave for South Africa for some dates down there. So some of the people here, like the Bar, are one of them, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're definitely on the South African tour.
Yeah, they actually took a photo of them on the plane heading to South Africa with Finn Balor and Sasha Banks, which is why everyone was like, oh, so you four aren't going to the SmackDown then. But we got a video pack. We got a promo from them instead.
And Absolution, so Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, they just got a graphic. I hope that's how they continue. Just,
oh man,
in graphics,
so
coming soon.
Like Emelina.
Yeah, that worked well. Then probably the biggest one, and most surprising considering he's set up a feud with Roman Reigns on Raw, and they're going to have a match in 3 weeks' time or 2 weeks' time at Backlash. Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and isn't it really funny how we were just saying then Raw has felt like house shows, but they have built one storyline, which is Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. And then one half of that has gone to the other brand.
But yeah, they've built the one storyline they've built.
Yeah.
Isn't a long-term thing.
I was genuinely surprised that it was Joe. Like, I was watching, I was waiting, and I was like, okay, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And then it was Joe, and I was like, genuinely didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
and like, it throws up a lot of possibilities and questions now, and it kind of like adds a bit of intrigue perhaps going into Greatest Royal Rumble, which I'm almost certain is non-canon. At times it's non-canon anyway.
There's too many title matches.
And
I think one's got to turn.
And then for Backlash as well, because Joe's got an IC Championship match at Greatest Royal Rumble.
When was that announced?
I don't think it has been announced yet.
I was very confused.
I was very confused because I thought he'd slipped up.
Same.
I thought he said the wrong thing because I was like, has Joe got a championship match at Greatest Royal Rumble? And I thought it was a cock-up until Todd Phillips repeated it. And I was like, oh, well, if they're repeating it, then it must be the case. But so he's got an IC championship
Just
match.
run with it, guys.
Yeah,
run with it.
yeah.
He's got a match now.
So
he's booked himself. More people should do that. Just say they've got championship matches
got a
on
title
air.
match now.
Yeah.
So he's got an IC championship match at Greatest Royal Rumble, which is also features Reigns and Lesnar for the Universal Championship. And if Roman wins the Universal Championship, then his match with Samoa Joe is for the Universal Championship at Backlash. So he could theoretically come over to SmackDown with both the IC Championship and the Universal Championship. And they've already got the US Championship and the WWE Championship. Raw, in a couple of weeks, could only have the tag belts and the women's belt.
Usually I would say, well, that's poppycock. That's not going to happen. But then WrestleMania is in my head.
Yep.
And this draft about how thin Raw feels right now.
Yeah.
That's a 3-hour show.
Well, they've taken the entirety of SmackDown's mid-card, and everyone was like, man, they've just really gutted out SmackDown. But I'm looking at it now being like, yeah, but SmackDown is such a much thinner and much nicer show now. I know I can name you pretty much every single person who's on the card. Whereas if I looked at Raw, I'd be like, there's this, I think this person's there, that person might be doing something, but then they probably won't be on the show at all.
Well, that's it. I think SmackDown lost a lot of quantity, but they have gained quality in spades.
Absolutely.
So Samoa Joe is definitely the highest profile of the trades. But the biggest NXT... Well, you can't even say that because Andrade. So Sanity are also being called up. About time, I think. Yeah,
it's funny. We had so many people say it in the comments. I had so many people say it to me on Twitter. I didn't see it happening. So, I mean, kudos to everyone else, but I personally didn't see it happening. And then they announced it. I was like, wow, they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
But then my excitement of that was taken down a couple of pegs later on when it was just announced that it was Eric Young, Wolf, and Killian Dane, and not Nikki Cross.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
So
can't have too many women on the main roster, let's be honest.
That was Sanity had a video package, and then they got a graphic later on. A really cool video package.
Yeah.
We'll get into it when we do the full review. And then in the women's segment, Asuka ran down for the save. So although she's kind of been on SmackDown by the nature of how she challenged with her Royal Rumble shot, that's now official. Then The Bar, as we've already said, Sheamus and Cesaro. Pretty big deal there as well.
Yeah.
Which kind of reveals they're losing to Woken, Matt and Bray.
Well, are they, though?
What, so the Raw Tag Team titles would go over to SmackDown?
Could be. I mean, we're getting the best of both worlds every month now, so...
Best of both worlds.
We want it all! So it could, maybe they'll just defend them against Woken and Bray at the next WWE pay-per-view, which I think is Extreme Rules.
It's Backlash again, isn't it?
That's right, it's Backlash again.
More Backlash than ever.
Yeah, because now it's like every pay-per-view is the one night of the year when Raw and SmackDown Superstars go head-to-head in direct competition.
Well, they don't go head-to-head in direct competition. It just has, you've got Raw matches and you've got SmackDown matches.
Well, no, what I'm saying, but if the Bar win at Greatest Royal Rumble and then defend against the Woken Hardy, then they will go head-to-head in direct competition at second Backlash.
Didn't think of that. And then the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, just had a video package rather than a promo or anything. They're coming across.
Yep.
I think of all the names, that is going to be the most beneficial to them. Because everyone else, they're exciting, but there's no real revamp opportunities there. The Good Brothers need, they've just been their Raw run. They're 3-4-time tag team champions.
Are they really? I thought they only won it once.
I don't even care, and that's the problem. But now they're over on SmackDown. No Finn, but technically, that was only a month or two thing.
Yeah,
they had a very fun thing going with AJ Styles.
Oh, that's true.
Back in the day with the club.
Exactly.
So I'm actually more excited to see that iteration of the Bullet Club reform.
And this video package was 100% serious. It was just look how devastating these are as a team. They're former tag team champions. They're badasses. They've been all over the globe. They've won champions all over the world. It wasn't them dressed up as doctors or whatever that garbage was that they were doing with the New Day and all that sort of stuff. So I'm thinking this is a bit of a character revamp for them. It's not going to be about nerdometer and that sort of stuff. It's going to be about serious card Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows again, which I'm all for, man. That sounds great to me. And, man, what a cracking little tag team division you've got there. You've got the Bar, and you've got Gal Anderson, you've got the Bludgeon Brothers, the Usos, New Day. Like, just those 5 teams there. Like, I'm happy with that, man. But there's probably another team as well that I'm forgetting.
Sanity?
Sanity, absolutely.
Well, you see, I would split up the Bar in the next 6 months.
Oh, I know you're so desperate to do this.
They're a great act together, but they're so much better apart.
Well, I know, but like you're so desperate for them to split.
Yeah,
and I don't think they're
in a ladder match. Maybe they could have a best of 7 series with someone.
Hopefully.
R-Truth, who, you know what? I enjoy his comedy. I think he's a good comedic performer. He always gets the crowd going by asking them repeatedly, what is up?
I mean, I did laugh because it was like the New Day are walking backstage and they're like, oh my God, look who it is. It's the Immortal. And then it pans over and it's R-Truth. And I literally go like, I mean, you did literally troll me there. And I bought that hook, line and sinker. So well done you. And then I was like, no, it's R-Truth. But then I did chuckle when he was like, it's so great to be here on Monday Night Raw. And they're like, no, it's Tuesday. It's the other show. And he's like, cool, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, so maybe he's not on SmackDown. Maybe R-Truth could just he could, like, because Heath Slater wasn't drafted last year, was he?
No,
that was the funny
the year
thing.
Before.
Was it the year before?
Yeah, it's been 2 years since.
Okay. Oh yeah, of course. Good grief. I'm just trying to forget Superstar Shake-Ups are a thing, and it's just the last draft in my head. So maybe R-Truth could flick between the 2 brands because he's confused and he's wacky.
Shot up on NXT.
You should draft Little Nicky to the other one. Is that the name of the character?
Oh,
He's
no,
Little
Jimmy.
Little Jimmy.
Yeah.
Little Nicky is an Adam Sandler movie.
It is, yeah. I thought you were making a reference to Nicholas.
No, and then we got Andrade, Cien Almas, with Zelina Vega.
Because she's a hot woman, so she's allowed to be a manager.
For now. Like, we don't know. They broke Rusev and Lana up. Who knows? Hopefully they stay together because she's a very important part of his act.
As we've said many times before, like, he was treading water before they paired up together, and her as an act now, they've just completely revamped themselves, and like he's awesome.
It's like it's revamped from a performance thing, but in storyline, just like the backstory wise, he was partying, he wasn't really focusing. It's Zelina because she's not a manager, she's a business manager, right?
Oh, maybe that's why they'll get away with it on
like
this.
Paul Heyman is an advocate.
Yeah, so she's a business associate. Maybe that's how they'll get around it.
So hopefully that's that. And like the matches Andrade can have, and Zelina can wrestle as well. What's her Thea Trinidad?
Yeah.
Is that her name? So like, I mean, I don't really want. Well, I do want to see her wrestle, but I kind of like her in this role more at the moment. So yeah, but there's potential there. But Andrade, like with Bryan, I think he's going to go in the US title picture.
100%, yeah, absolutely.
So with Jeff Hardy, you know,
and Randy Orton, and now the other thing as well. What I loved about, I mean, we'll go obviously into these in more detail when we do the recap. But Samoa Joe, when he got his promo afterwards, and he was like, I want to ruin Daniel Bryan's dreams. I want to have a match. I'm going to defang the Viper, and I'm going to demasculate AJ Styles. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, why? Yes, more of this, please. Basically, SmackDown has become 2007 TNA. Because you've got AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Eric Young. I'm like, hey, it's all the people I really liked in 2007. Jeff Hardy. I'm like, hey, it's 2007 TNA all over again.
Eric, you said Eric Young.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I just thought, oh, he hasn't said Eric Young. He did. And if Kurt Angle hops over.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Lovely stuff.
So when we were trying to make a list of all these trades, we haven't. There might be some online ones which we haven't
checked
because we're so happy with these ones, but we wrote those all down, and I feel like we're missing someone, and you go, nah, I think that's it.
Pretty much that's all of them.
So, and I get to the end of my notes, Big Cass, like
Big Cass.
The biggest, well, not the biggest, but like that was what the show ended on. It was his entrance music that this episode of SmackDown closed.
Oh, he's straight into that main event scene.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Because he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. You can't teach it, man. He's tall.
Yeah, I mean,
he's big. Cass.
I like Big Cass. He's called Big Cass, right? He's not called Colin Cass.
No, he is Big Cass. They should have a graphic for him later on with Big Cass again.
So that's good. Loved his act with that other guy, whoever he was. They were really good together. And I liked the heel run. I thought he would work the crowd really well. But it was like, oh, you only ever feuded with Enzo Amore, which had like the crowd was super invested in. Are they invested in you, Big Cass, as a heel?
He also feuded with The Big Show.
Yeah.
Do you remember that classic shark cage match they had at SummerSlam last year.
But I mean, I know you're being droll, but for everyone else, it was still feuding with Enzo via the proxy of Big Show. And so it's like, is the crowd into Big Cass as a heel, or were they into that feud and that Enzo betrayal? And I was looking at Big Cass and I thought, I don't really want to see you as a heel, and I definitely don't want you to see you as a top heel. And then I was like, oh, this might be this year's Jinder, because I remember last year that I was so happy about the SmackDown roster. I was like, here we go. It was a rough couple of months with the whole Bray Wyatt thing, but before then, SmackDown was the A show. Yep. It was so much fun to watch with AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, the Viper in the Family storyline, the Ellsworth stuff, which I personally adored.
I loved it.
And then they had a pretty good hand in the draft, in the Superstar shakeup. And I was like, okay, we're going to reset this now. And then it was like 8 months of Jinder at the top. And the Kevin Owens, AJ Styles feud. Nothing was clicking.
Right,
apart from the tag division.
Can I try to alleviate some of your worries?
Cynicism, yes.
Your cynicism. It could have been Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to be Baron Corbin on Raw.
Well, yeah, I know, Bob. I don't have to review Raw, so I suppose that's fine.
So yeah, I do like Big Cass as a performer. I mean, but he's really got no track record as a top heel performer, and he's limited in what he can do in the ring. He's gonna have fantastic opposition, but I mean, he'd be a great mid-card act.
Well, okay, yeah, so here's the thing. I'm excited for the possibilities of Jeff Hardy feuding with the people that are on SmackDown, like Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. And I'm excited by all that. I'm excited by Randy Orton feuding with these people that are coming in. I'm excited by Samoa Joe feuding with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. I'm excited by Andrade feuding with all these people. I'm not excited about Big Cass feuding with them. So, and I think that's why I like Big Cass as well, and I'm excited to see what he can do, but it doesn't make me look forward to any of the feuds he's going to have on SmackDown Live.
It's all of the roster now. Not all of the roster, but everyone we just mentioned, R-Truth aside, any combination of those guys is exciting in some way. Like very exciting as well, not just slightly. Apart from the ones that include Big Cass. And it's not just like, if he was just drafted to SmackDown, fine, that's fine. But he's like a top heel in the positioning. And I know this would really gut Raw, but man, why the hell haven't you put Drew McIntyre in this position?
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. I'd have loved Drew in this role.
Better wrestler, better talker,
and he's also
better look.
He's 8 foot tall. You can't.
He was carved out of a tree.
3
centuries ago.
I'd have much rather that. But so here's the other question, I suppose, for this is actually I've got 2 questions for you. Is this Big Cass going into the main event, or is it taking Daniel Bryan out of the main event into the mid-card? Because he's also feuding with The Miz, who is not a main event heel on the company. He's very much going to be positioned in that mid-card thing. And is it WWE's way of saying, right, you've had your Daniel Bryan WrestleMania return now. Now let's take it down a couple of pegs and move him back into the mid-card where he really belongs?
This could be played back to me in several weeks.
Interesting.
And haha, Ollie's stupid. But I am optimistic here. I feel like WWE, Daniel Bryan has moved from thorn in their side to the part-time performer status because he left and came back, kind of.
Yeah.
He's a special attraction now.
Well, I mean,
and I feel like that
might
be a switch in Vince's head when he's gone from this bearded guy to box office.
Yeah, well, I hope you're absolutely right, because I really hope that Daniel Bryan is in that main event picture with Joe and with AJ and and all these other guys. That's what I'm really hoping for. The other question, and this is actually something that's been posted to me on Twitter a couple of times by people today who actually I've seen a lot of people really down on SmackDown today because I think they were expecting more people to show up, maybe more NXT call-ups or what have you. Because
what more would you want?
Well, bearing in mind that Raw got 21 people. And
but none of them were brilliant.
Well, no, I know, but it's sometimes people want quantity over quality. But the other reason that people were down on SmackDown is that they said well, there's only 3 baby faces on SmackDown now. 4, because you got AJ, Bryan, Jeff Hardy, and Randy Orton, and everyone else is a heel. Is it becoming a brand that is too heel stacked?
We'll have to see. I mean, they could just do an Natalia. When the bar turn up, they could be baby faces. You saw the way they dance in that Best of Both Worlds video.
We want it all.
Oh,
It's a SmackDown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
So the main show kicked off not with just random cameos or whatever, superstar shakes.
Or
that's the
Shane
word.
McMahon coming down to be like, hey, what up, Providence?
Yeah, when is he getting surgery? Why was he even on this show? Oh, he could have been pre-taped, I suppose. But yeah, as you already alluded to, it kicked off right with the story. AJ Styles comes out and he's calling out Nakamura, and he says, I'm not leaving this ring until Nakamura comes out to apologise to my balls. My balls have been beaten. What are we at? I mean, maybe we should have a low blow counter.
Oh, that's a good
So
gimmick.
there was one at WrestleMania
Two
for the
last
heel
week.
turn, 2 last week, and there was 1 here.
Yeah, we're at
so
4.
we're at 4 blows.
4 ball shots.
4 ball shots, which is 8 testicles injured. 8 separate testicle impacts.
I mean, I don't want to spoil because you haven't seen my SmackDown review yet because
Yeah.
it's only just gone off to the editor. But I've renamed his finisher the Phenomenal Ball Arm.
Nice, nice. I mean, like it's gonna in 20 years' time they're gonna do a lot of like CTE research, but on testicles, and we're gonna look back at this era of
be like,
unprotected ball shots and be like, what were we thinking? Of course, it's a bad idea. Anyway, there were dueling AJ Styles Nakamura chants here, so it just shows how Nakamura's more over as a heel.
Yeah.
He's more over as a babyface as a heel than he was when he was as a babyface. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you more or less got there.
Yeah. So that's great to see that the crowd are invested in both. And
He said that like Nakamura has forgotten how to speak English, but he's not here for a conversation. He's here for a fight. And I thought that was a really, really nice line. But he didn't get Nakamura. Instead, he got Rusev Day. So Rusev came out and English sang a great song.
yes,
And
I like it when he changes it up.
yeah, it was really cool. And then he took the survey and people chanted Rusev Day. And then we got AJ Styles versus Rusev in a... I mean, it wasn't really a match. It was basically just an angle. Rusev got in.
30 seconds.
30
max.
seconds. AJ immediately locked in the calf crusher. English ran in for the DQ. And then Bryan came down to run the save. I smell a tag team match, player.
Yes, which Paige joked about in the next
I know,
segment.
she stole my damn joke.
I thought when Rusev and Aiden English came out, they were so happy, and Rusev was beaming a smile so broad, probably because he's back in the Undertaker match. I thought, oh, okay, superstar shakeup. They're now faces. They're on the same brand, but now they're baby faces. But then Aiden English had a line about this being a rubbish town, and then he beat up AJ at the end. So definitely heels
Definitely
still.
heel still.
But you know, if this is a heel heavy brand, they're the first people to turn.
Yeah, well, that's
Really?
very true, yeah.
So yes, Shane McMahon was watching all this opening segment backstage on a monitor like a normal person. Actually, it wasn't positioned weirdly. And yeah, I just thought, why even show him here? Like, why do we need Shane here?
Because you need to show that there are people who are managing this show, I guess, because then...
Why can't I have one person?
Because sometimes that one person is Kurt Angle flubbing lines. Sometimes you need 2 people, because we can't have Angle flubbing all of his lines on Raw and then Shane flubbing his lines on SmackDown. We need Paige there to save these segments.
Well, I've got nothing wrong with Paige. I'm saying take out the Shane.
I know what you're saying. But anyway, so Paige comes in and she said, we're going to have a tag team match tonight. And then they do some Teddy Long impersonations and do the Teddy Long dance. Paige walks back in. They have a bit of a quote-unquote awkward moment. Where
Yes.
she kind of catches Shane doing a dance. It wasn't particularly good. But hey, you know, it's a fresh change.
Well, yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought I'm not going to be too hard on them because this is a new dynamic. But if they went for awkward, they got realistically awkward. Like, this was not comically awkward. That just came off as awkward and slightly rubbish.
Yeah, pretty much. Tonight we are having a Carmella-bration. Yes. And then Shelton Benjamin came out and he was cutting a promo. The now single Shelton Benjamin, because he's been split up from his tag team partner Chad Gable. And they showed a tweet that he'd put out saying, like, hey man, I wish Chad Gable all the best. And he said on Twitter last night, I said I wish Chad Gable all the best. In other news, my Twitter got hacked.
Oh, sick burn. I'm going to do that Shelton Benjamin. For the, what was that, when they roasted the Usos.
That's right, yeah,
Yes.
I forgot all about that. And then, so he said, like, it's now time for him to shine. He could be a singles run. That's another guy in that sort of US title picture position. And he calls out a big challenge. This is where I thought we might get either Big Cass or the Big Show. It wasn't. It was Randy Orton. Again, like, it's third segment into the show, still no superstar shakeup, like, even being mentioned. I was like, oh, wow, it's just Randy Orton. I guess we're going to have Randy Orton versus Shelton Benjamin then.
This is the way a superstar shake-up episode should be done. As fun as yesterday was, or 2 days, the Raw, Monday Night Raw was, it's like there's no meat there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas this is a perfect balance. But Randy Orton walks out halfway down the ramp with his music playing, then stops. Then his music stops. So he stopped before he should have done. And then I'm like, well, what's going on here? And then Jeff Hardy comes out. It was a bit sloppy.
A bit sloppy. And then, but what I really did like about it was the way that Randy Orton just looked at Jeff Hardy. I'm just like, you little dick. Who do you think you are?
That was good. I thought they could have built on it more because, of course, Jeff is the US champion. Randy is the #1 contender to the US title. And he's like, I thought I had an easy one with Jinder, but now I've got to face Jeff Hardy.
Last week, I did a Darth Vader as no at the mere thought of another Randy versus Jinder feud. And now instead I'm getting a Randy Jeff Hardy feud. Nom nom nom. So much happier with this. Lovely stuff.
So how good is Jeff Hardy? I think we can say.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't connect to him.
Character-wise, I don't connect with him, but from just like a. You know, when people have been around so long and accomplished so much, they just have a presence with them. It's not like a presence I'm dying to see all the time, like some people, but I can definitely appreciate it. And I thought his selling was really, really good here of the knee, where he'll run into the ropes and then just sort of hobble back.
Yep.
Really, really good stuff.
Great stuff. And I mean, I don't know if this is a recent thing. I shouldn't say that because every time I say that, people tell me that it's happened for ages and I get called an idiot. Apparently, Meteor is a thing. He is sticking the landing on those swanton bombs nowadays.
Oh, no, that is not a recent thing.
He is landing. I mean, maybe it's just because he's been gone for a while, but he's been landing those suckers heavy.
No. He just does. Yeah, because before, like back in the day, he would kind of just land with
on
the
his
top
neck.
of his neck.
That to me, when I think of the swanton bomb, that's what I see.
This is now like a senton splash
just
with a flip.
So heavy on them.
No, that has been since he's returned.
It's like watching Matt Riddle wrestle.
Yeah, it's like
amazing.
he's just like, I'm just going to hurt you.
just going to
legit finish a match.
But I thought this was a really fun match.
Yes, I liked it.
Jeff Hardy got the Twist of Fate and the Swanton Bomb, and he won. Jeff has established himself as the US champion on SmackDown. Good stuff. Really enjoyed this.
Really good, really promising division going forward.
Lovely.
Like, amazing. Jeff Hardy leading the mid-card. We've got Randy Orton in there. Shelton Benjamin has that name weight. You chuck an Almas in there, and it's like Almas feels bigger just by being around these guys.
And as I said last week, what I really wish they'd do more with the New Day is have them also have these singles feuds. Like put Kofi in there, put Xavier in there, put Big E in there, and all of a sudden, just like it bolsters it even further. Be great stuff. They could still be a tag team, but just also going for singles runs. Love it.
And also presumably in that mid card kind of like main event slot is The Miz, who got a promo up next, and Monroe Sky made her WWE TV debut here.
She did, bless her.
Yeah, so Miz is like saying, initially it looks like he's just standing backstage, because it's like a metal panel. Why is that in his house?
Well, because he likes to feel at home. And in his own home, and when he feels at home is when he is in a WWE locker room.
He's so WWE through and through.
Yeah.
All their TVs are positioned like that to the wall.
Sofas have sat next to them.
Yeah. Sparsely decorated offices with pictures of WWE movies.
Yeah, with maybe a pot plant, if you're lucky, and always a robot lady in each of the rooms in case one of them needs to ask a question about like how they're feeling that day.
Yeah. Well, they do have their own reality TV show, so I'm sure that's probably actually a presence. So Miz there, and he cuts this promo, he's like, I'm gonna beat up Daniel Bryan for saying he wants to punch me in the face. Do you want to see Daniel Bryan punch me in the face? Local town? And then I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, tough, because I'm not there. Which was like a nice reveal. And that's when he revealed that metal background was his house.
Yeah, and he said that he'll be on
an interior wall in his house.
He'll be on SmackDown next week because he's going to kick Daniel Bryan's ass, and then Maurice tells him off because he swore in front of the baby.
Yeah.
This is tremendous stuff.
So this is very, very
And that's
good.
the other thing as well. We'll come on to Big Cass, I suppose, quite shortly. But we're kind of what I really enjoyed about SmackDown is they're setting up like intertwining feuds because Daniel Bryan is now currently feuding with The Miz and Big Cass. That's great. It's not like Miz and Big Cass are teaming together. They're just having like just separate feuds.
And Samoa Joe's called them all out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know where Sanity and Andrade are going to go. This is how wrestling booking should be done. And it's what works so well. A lot of people crap on him, but when Vince Russo had the book, he would just there'd be so many directions, everyone would be feuding with everyone, so you could have Undertaker, The Rock, one month as your pay-per-view, and the next month you could have a different match, but then the month after that, go back to Rock versus The Undertaker, because there's still an unresolved dispute there. Whereas opposed to these days where it's just Rock Undertaker, Rock Undertaker, Rock Undertaker for 4 or 5 months, the same match, and it dries things out. Speaking of, Luke Harper beat Jey Uso.
Well, before we got that, that's when they announced Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose have been drafted to SmackDown. But yeah, then we got Jey Uso versus Harper. Again, another short match. Harper won with the discus clothesline very, very quickly.
So I'm not bored of the Bludgeon Brothers, but now I'm at the point where I want something different. Now that they're champions.
Well, perhaps this is going to be your something different, because after the match, the Bludgeon Brothers started to beat down the Usos. They kind of threw them hither and yonder. And then just as they picked up their mallets of complete death, Naomi ran down from the back to be in front of her husband saying, please, almost pleading for their lives. And as I said in the SmackDown review, it kind of adds a level of realism that in this feud between the Usos and two guys who wear masks and carry around giant mallets. And it's just this one addition, and it gives Naomi something to do, because it's not like you can't have more than one women's storyline going on in WWE, so she can be involved in this feud here. It's not a brilliant use of her, but it adds something a bit different. It makes their marriage canon, I suppose, within the WWE universe, quote unquote. I think this is quite nice. There's a nice little wrinkle to the story.
Yeah, it was intriguing, but Bludgeon Brothers have been squashing people for so long. I want to, and now they're champions. I just wanted a bit more.
I get you,
and hopefully that comes soon. But the Naomi is not usually someone I associate with good acting. She's been pretty darn rotten, I would say, in backstage stuff before. But here she was good.
Yeah,
I liked her.
I think it's because Natalya just sucks the charisma out of people.
Natalya?
I think Natalya is among the worst of the backstage acting.
Yeah.
And I think she does make people just comparatively worse by standing next to them.
So then the camera cuts to in the ring, and Sin Cara's there.
Sin Cara spotting.
And I was like, is this a trade? Where was he before? Is this a call-up? I don't know.
Genuine, I don't know.
Yeah.
What brand is Kalisto on? Is he just on 205 Live? Is that his brand?
No, I don't know. We should. But it would be. I thought it'd be funnier if I did not look this up.
No, go. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, just spat on you, I think.
Sorry, I didn't feel it. It's okay.
So then, who's going to have a match against Sin Cara? It's bloody Samoa Joe.
Oh yes,
and
mate.
Joe just comes out and kills Sin Cara, chokes him out relatively quickly. I even joked yesterday. It was like, well, looks like Joe or Roman Reigns aren't getting drafted. Why do I even say those things?
Oh man, but I'm so happy to see Joe. And then afterwards, he said that SmackDown is the land of opportunity, but really it's the land of handouts. And everyone only is here thinks they're only so good because I haven't been here. Oh, what a money line that is.
Yeah.
And he just cut this promo, and that's the way he started setting up these feuds with Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, AJ Styles. I'm like, yes, more and more of this. And this is when he said that he's got the IC title match with Rollins at Greatest Royal Rumble and his feud with Roman Reigns at Backlash. Again, intertwining storylines. Samoa Joe's got so much on his plate at the moment. I love it.
Yeah, very good stuff. And yes, Joe's awesome. I had another point to make.
Oh dear,
it's gone. Oh, that was it. So the actual verbiage, like he said, defang Randy Orton, and he said emasculate. Yeah. So in the hands of someone else, in the voice of someone else, that would sound terrible. And I just think of Kane going eviscerate you and all that language that he's forced to use. Joe's such a good promo, it's seamless, and it just comes out naturally. He's got his character down perfectly.
Indeed.
What did we have next, Luke?
We had I was going to say we were going to skip over the best thing on the show, obviously. We got the best of both brands promo.
I hope they keep playing this every week for the next 52 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
because
totally.
it's brilliant.
I kind of want other people to do it. It's like every month we get a new crop of stars doing this.
NXT and...
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. So then there was the Sanity video package, which was just Eric Young talking about chaos. Eric Young's great voice.
Yeah.
What a timber he has to his throat.
So wonderful.
And it was a very, really, really well put together video package, grainy news footage, a few clips of Sanity, and at the end it says chaos, and then arriving, and then there's a flash frame of the word Sanity as well.
I mean, I don't want to sound too negative. I try not to be too negative onto these shows. I don't think this is how I would have debuted Sanity. I would have tried to make it feel a bit more chaotic, particularly at the end when they were just like, hey, by the way, we've called up Sanity. And they got like a graphic on screen. It's not how I would have done it, but at the same time, I'm very excited to see them on the main roster. Just kind of wish Nikki Cross was with them.
I can't argue with that. Did you see Okada's tweet about this? So WWE tweeted out, looks like chaos is coming to SmackDown Live. Chaos is, of course, the New Japan faction that Okada kind of heads up. And Okada just tweeted back, quoting that tweet, "No, we're in Japan."
Lovely stuff.
Then we got Daniel Bryan backstage telling Renee Young that he saved AJ Styles because he respects him. And one day he wants to fight him. Yes, bloody please. And then he turns around into Big Cass's big torso. He came up to about his nipple.
He's 7 foot tall. You can't teach that.
Wow.
And Bryan is like 4'11".
Yeah. And then the camera backs out and then looks up, and Big Cass is like, "Wow, so you're what all the fuss is about." What, did you just not watch wrestling for ages?
You see, he got you, man. He's
Yeah,
working
that's
you.
what he's meant to be. Good point. And he noted Bryan's height.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to be angry for a bit about that being brought up, but he is a heel and he has made me angry, so yeah.
But
it worked, brother.
Kudos to Big Cass, I guess. It worked,
But
brother.
I would like... That's not the way I want to dislike someone. I want to dislike someone because they're wicked heels, not because...
They don't watch wrestling. They don't like the same people you like.
Not because it's damaging perceptions.
I get it.
I get it. So then we had the Carmella-bration.
Just a Mellabration.
A Mellabration, my apologies. And this was Carmella in the ring celebrating her title win. That rhymed. And it had my jacket all over the ring posts.
Your jacket, we're not wearing it.
No,
hot. I did spot it all around. But it's great. So she kind of talked about how she's now the SmackDown Live Women's Champion and how she did it. She did it all on her own. And she did a video package that was edited together to make it look like she won the Money in the Bank and Ellsworth wasn't involved. And then all she's done then is dominate the women's division. And then she cashed in Money in the Bank and she won. And it was, it was a great video. And Carmella was great in this role. She was just like constantly laughing and be like, "Oh, I'm the champion," and it's great. She's a wonderful little character, and I really like Carmella in this role. I've been a bit down on Carmella for some time, and that's not like anything to do with her. It's just they've given her nothing to do. It's just apart from potentially cash in and then not do that, and it just made her feel a bit naff.
Yeah.
But this is great. This is a really cool presentation of her.
And she's such a good promo.
Yeah.
This was really good, and you could tell that there were bits that were scripted, but she was going off script and interacting with the crowd based on what the crowd were chanting, and she didn't miss a beat, which is very, very tricky to do.
I actually felt that AJ did that earlier in the night as well, because I don't think they would have expected the crowd to have the dueling chants of AJ Styles and Nakamura, and then he was like, "This is what I wanted. Like, this is what I'd wanted,"
Yeah.
but then he ruined this and got it right back on track. I thought it was really good.
But it reminded me of the promo after she won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then that killer promo she delivered. And I was like, she's a great promo. Why have we forgotten this?
Yeah.
Why isn't she allowed to do promos more often like this?
Yeah.
But yes, then Charlotte comes out and says, "Look, that's not true because the Iconics helped you last week, and that chinless freak."
She mentioned James Ellsworth.
Yeah. Well, not by name.
No.
Helped you win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Then the Iconics come out and do a good fun heel
I
promo.
loved this so much. We mentioned it last week. My favourite kind of heels are the heels that just laugh at their own jokes, even if the jokes aren't funny. And this was amazing because Billy Kay comes out and he's just like, "Charlotte, you're pathetic. This is all, you're having a go at her." And then she was like, "Peyton, you know what to do." And then Peyton started doing this impression of Charlotte, which is like, "Hi, I'm Charlotte. My diaper needs changing. I need a bottle. I need a nap. Wah, wah, wah." And then Billy Kay just laughs. So he goes like, "If I close my eyes, I think Charlotte's standing next to me." Oh, I loved this.
They're really good. Charlotte has enough and then decides to beat them up, but the Iconics start to get the better of her, which they should do because there's two of them and they've just debuted and they need to look strong, unlike the Riot Squad. And so that was very good. And Becky Lynch ran down to save Charlotte, and then that turned into more brawl than ever with Carmella getting involved, and that brought out Asuka.
Well, no, it's good.
I got it mixed up.
You got it mixed up. I initially wrote down tag match. I initially wrote down Charlotte and Becky versus the Iconics.
Yeah.
But no, it was a singles match. It was just Charlotte versus Billie Kay. Quite a slow match. Kay mostly just dominated with rest holds. Crowd chanted for Y2J. And then Charlotte won with the figure eight. It wasn't particularly great. It went quite a while. And I think because Kay was losing in essentially her debut match on SmackDown Live, I think they wanted to give her a lot in ring. But it didn't really work. Like,
you've got to give them impressive stuff, not another chin lock.
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't really work. And then afterwards, Carmella jumped in and she attacked Charlotte with the belt. And then Becky got involved because she'd come down for the save earlier.
Yes.
And then Asuka finally comes to SmackDown Live and she runs down. Zero character change for Asuka by the looks of it, which.
Yeah,
not how I would have done it. I was actually I was just watching. I was like, and then Asuka turns around and boots Charlotte in the face, or she turns around and boots Becky in the face. But nope, she's just still babyface Asuka.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Asuka coming out as well. Like, you never know how you're gonna feel when you see people return after absences, and I've got to say, she did not feel special.
No, really didn't.
Which is worrying
it's
and a real shame.
Yeah, it really is a shame. I mean, I said in the video last week, like, I don't want to seem down, but it does feel that WWE have gone out of their way to make this streak feel unspecial.
Yeah, it's like, I've got no problem with the streak ending,
Nope.
but the follow-up hasn't been the most effective use of that ending. Which is a shame. And I'm just, at the end of this, I just thought, I mean, this looks like a stacked division. You've got the Iconics I'm excited about. Carmella's a cool champion. Charlotte, Becky, Asuka. Naomi's in there as well.
Absolution.
Well, yeah. Who can forget those guys? But then I was like, but the people who are standing in front of me now in the ring, it's 3 baby faces and 3 heels. And oh my God, am I sick of that dynamic. Mm-hmm. Because that's what we've had
six
for
tag
a year,
next week.
For a year of Riot Squad versus assortment of baby faces.
Charlotte, Becky,
Welcoming
and Naomi.
Committee versus assortment of baby faces. So hopefully they spin off into singles feuds, multiple singles feuds, and they actually give Becky something to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this earlier. So last week there was that Becky made a joke in like a post-match interview that she just like, well, why didn't you save Charlotte? And I like to think this is just Becky like grabbing someone saying like, we need to do something here to fill in this plot hole. Why wouldn't I have gone out? And she cut this promo saying like, oh, I was eating quinoa backstage and then I heard all this commotion and by the time I'd found out it was too late. Still, it was really good quinoa. But it was a nice little funny thing. So she posted up a video on Twitter of her eating quinoa, hearing what had happened, and it was like, not this time, dropping the quinoa and running out to make the save. She's too good. And they're doing nothing with her.
Like they should almost put her on the writing staff, just to catch any plot holes in the women's division, and she can make fun online stuff around it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But yeah, she should be featured a lot more prominently.
She certainly does.
You know when you start writing someone's name in bubble letters on a birthday card, you get really big.
You love this metaphor.
I do. It happens so much, and you're like, well, your name's quite short anyway, so Lukeowe. Oh no, I'm running out of space for the N and the S.
Yep. Yep.
So you've got to just squeeze it in there at the end and really get it in. That's what happened at the end of the Superstar Shake-Up episode of SmackDown, because like after not having a shake for about 3 segments, and then like one here, one there, a little bit over here. It was Good Brothers to SmackDown, video package of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Yep.
The Bar to SmackDown, Cesaro and Sheamus cut a promo on their phone. The New Day are backstage. They run into R-Truth. We've already talked about it. There's a bit of stuff with Ty Dillinger.
I wonder if they're setting up a tag team of Ty and Truth, because like they had their own little like hands gesture thing. Maybe they could do it as a wacky tag team that Ty's always showing up, but R-Truth is never there for it because he thinks he's on a different show.
Yeah, I mean they haven't got Breezango now, so yeah. It's something.
It's something.
It's something. And then Andrade Cien Almas, my apologies, with Zelina Vega in a mobile phone shot video package, promo 2. And then we got the main event of AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan versus Rusev Day.
This match wasn't as fun as you'd think it would be, because it was just the heels beating down AJ for ages. And then then Bryan got the hot tag.
What a
and
hot tag.
It was awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. Like you said, not much worth talking about for the first part of the match. But yeah, Bryan runs in, crazy hot tag, 3 years of energy just stored up in him.
So wonderful.
You see him shake the middle rope like Ultimate Warrior.
Or Batista.
Oh, yeah, but it was the middle rope, so maybe there is something to the height thing. He's so, like, Bryan is so good here. I didn't even mind Rusev Day effectively being used as exhibition fodder.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason they were in this match.
Yeah.
Even though they're super over themselves. But then, as Bryan is setting up, well, he hits the flying knee, the running knee. What do they call it? Just
they do call it something, but I can't
Shining
remember.
Wizard?
No, it's
no,
not
that's
Shining
AJ
Wizard.
Lee, isn't it? And they
It's like bazooka knee or something.
yeah, he hits that on Rusev, wasn't it? But then it's the bull shot, the
It's
phenomenal
the ball
ball
arm.
arm from Nakamura, who had run through the crowd, hits AJ, leaves like it's because he gets the
leaves it
bicep.
so long in there. It's so good.
He doesn't hit with the fist; he hits with the bicep, which is
It's like China.
weird. Like it's closer to the face. So he hits that in. That was our 7th and 8th testicle shots.
And then Big Cass booted Daniel Bryan in the face to close off the show. And then Nakamura was on the stage and Renee Young comes out to try and interview him. And he once again says, "Sorry, I don't speak English." And Byron Saxton goes like, "Oh, what a tragedy." And Corey Graves, I'll let you have this because it made me laugh so much.
Corey had line of the night.
He certainly did.
This is a tragedy. Can you imagine forgetting an entire language?
Oh, I'm so into heel Corey.
Corey has been great.
Yeah.
Really seriously great. Like, WWE commentary on the main roster is not good, but Corey Graves is.
Yeah.
And he is... Yeah. He's, very, very thankful and grateful that Corey Graves is a thing.
And the other, I suppose, thing I would have changed about SmackDown Live if I had the option to cut a few things out and swap a few things around and maybe change something, I wouldn't have had the backstage segment with Bryan and Big Cass. I'd have had Big Cass make his return here and allow it to be this OMG surprise that Big Cass is there.
I don't think that would have worked.
Okay.
Actually, I think Big Cass, considering all the other names that came over, Big Cass isn't actually a big surprise. So it actually works better to foreshadow him earlier in the night.
Okay.
People aren't
I
disappointed
can see that.
by the final one. But yes, so what did you give SmackDown in the end?
I mean, as I said, like it's like Raw. It's almost impossible to not have a fun show because you have all the surprises and then NXT calls. It's like the Raw and SmackDown after Mania last week, and this was a really fun show. But like as a wrestling show, it wasn't great because the matches were all very short. But everything on this show was just designed to make me excited about the future of SmackDown. So I did give it Smacktastic.
Yeah, I gave Raw a core yesterday, and that's 4 out of 5. But man, like SmackDown was so much better, but not 5 out of 5 levels like the previous week, which I thought was exemplary. So I would give this a very, very high Smacktastic.
Well, see,
very high.
Because I went a low Smacktastic, only because like it is designed to make things, but as a show, I mean, the matches weren't long or anything like that. But
Missing out on the wrestling.
It's missing
sure,
out on the wrestling, and that was really it for me. That's the only thing that kind of like made me go slow rather than high Smacktastic. But yeah, man, what a show! And I mean, as I said, like I think we are destined for a great 2018 on Team Blue. I really think we are, as long as. You've got me worried now with Jinder 2018 in the form of Big Cass. But you know what? I'm gonna go back to my earlier point. It's not Baron Corbin, and that as long as it's not Baron Corbin, then it couldn't be much worse.
I like Baron, but yeah. We'll see what happens. That's all we've got time for today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or other WrestleTalk stuff. Subscribe to WrestleTalk, please, because that helps us do multiple things. It's the biggest driver of this channel's success. And this podcast version, where there are exclusive intros and outros to the whole episode.
Yesterday we did, it was like about 30 minutes worth of extra rambling, and we did like a live watch-along of the Best of Both Brands promo, and it's amazing.
Yes, what a song.
What a song.
This has been Luke Owen, I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.